We need to know about our past history to inform the future. The first part of the century, you had death from heart disease rising from a rarity to #1 killer by the 1950s and 60s. What we now see is that brain disorders have overtaken all other burdens of ill health. In Europe in 2004, the audit was done to assess the cost of ill health, and it turned out at €386 billion for brain disorders. We had questions asked in the House of Lords about what was going on in Britain, and the answer was a staggering £77 billion for mental ill health in the United Kingdom, and that was a cost greater than heart disease and cancer combined. I think the gravity of the situation is not recognized. The responsibility really lies with the substantial increase in production of linoleic acid-rich seed forms over the last half century. So you essentially have the omega-6 coming from land-based seeds, and anything green, for example, will contain the parent omega-3. And because the two families, omega-6 and omega-3, use the same metabolic systems in the body, too much omega-6 will depress the ability of the body to use the omega-3.
Omega-3 begins here in the ocean with one of the most basic organisms, marine algae. These tiny plants use the energy from sunlight to make their own food, a process we know as photosynthesis. Using energy from this food and specific enzymes, algae make short alpha-linolenic acid and then lengthen it into the longer and more unsaturated EPA and DHA fatty acids. These are considered the healthiest forms of omega-3. Unlike marine algae, land plants, animals and humans are not good at converting short-chain omega-3 into the long-chain EPA and DHA. In ocean food chains, algae are consumed by zooplankton. The zooplankton are then consumed by fish. As you can see, the long-chain omega-3 fatty acids travel up through the food chain. When humans finally consume the fish, whether it be anchovy, mackerel or salmon, we naturally absorb the concentrated long-chained omega-3s within them. Once inside the body, EPA is important for regulating blood flow and health of the heart, while DHA is critically important for the eyes and the brain.
Icosapentaenoic acid prevents blood clotting, if you like, put it simply, and it reduces swelling and inflammation. Docosahexaenoic acid, or DHA, on the other hand, is absolutely critical in the cell signaling systems of the brain and the visual system. 70% of your brain cells that you have now were made in your mother's womb. The time that omega-3 is most important to the brain is before you're born, and afterwards during breastfeeding it is also important. The evidence to support the health benefits is overwhelming. The library shelves of medical schools groan under the weight of that evidence at the moment.
Omega-3s have more science than almost any other pharmaceutical or nutritional compound in the world. The only compound we've ever actually been able to find that has more studies is aspirin. There's actually 20,000 published scientific papers since the 1970s that have been focused on omega-3s and their benefits, as well as over 2,000 randomized controlled trials in humans, which is the gold standard of human clinical trials.
There was a clinical trial of about 11,000 patients given omega-3 fatty acids, and within the first year it prevented 40% of sudden death. And the American Heart Association and other heart associations make strong recommendations of regular use of omega-3 fatty acids.
Most nutritionists will say consuming seafood and fatty fish in particular are the most valuable sources of EPA and DHA in the diet. You can also get your omega-3s via fish oil capsules, fortified foods, and capsules containing other types of EPA and DHA.
It's clear that scientists and medical authorities around the world agree that including long-chain omega-3s in our diets is essential for a healthy heart and brain. This can be achieved by regularly taking fish oil capsules containing high levels of EPA or DHA, or by consuming oily fish like anchovy, mackerel or salmon. Care does have to be taken, however, to ensure that the omega-3 fatty acids in the capsules are EPA and DHA, and not the less beneficial short-chain fatty acids found in some vegetable oils. Also, when consuming any farmed fish like salmon, it is important to ensure that it's been fed on a diet containing high levels of fish oil to ensure that it, in turn, is rich in EPA and DHA. By following this simple advice, we can all ensure that we're contributing to our own health and that of our families.